So this video is just exploring options of different ways to use the MPC, and not really necessarily the way maybe it was intended to do, but just exploring the options. The obvious ones are record something in, sample it, chop it, and play it back in sequence, or use the whole MPC workflow, which I do love. 3.0 at least, I love that workflow a lot. However, sometimes you might want to use your iPad and Koala or something different, just to get away from the same monotonous workflow that you might be doing. And you can use the sounds from the MPC if you enjoy them, and they're not bad for they're just not bad sounds. They're just what they are. So what I'm saying is, basically you could take, like I did here, and play some chords and melody. Right? Using the built-in, this is the Rhodes Vintage Gig Stage EP preset. And then take that preset, record in some parts, and then put a little, which I used, I loaded some drums in MPC, and then just played them back into here. Not a big deal. And then came up with this. Well, let me. So just making up something there, to have, and then you could go and start building strings or whatever you want over it. Some of the MPC sounds instruments are actually really good. I know I'm not a fan of most of them. However, I will say the MIDI in there, the Jura, the Sub Factory, as well as the stage piano, the stage strings, and I mean that's stage EP rather, and the stage strings are really good, can be used. That's what I'm using here, right, just to record in. So maybe you want to do something like that, or if you want to bring your samples back into here. So let's say you're out and about, you collect some samples in your phone, and you want to use those samples in the MPC, you can send it back into the MPC and use it. Then the MPC can also act, of course, as a MIDI controller. So we can make a sample, a one shot. Now, in order for me to get this to work, I'm gonna have to get off of that plug-in, because otherwise you're gonna hear the plug-in playing. I usually turn it to keyboard mode and go ahead and turn this to chromatic. And then we have to set up the MIDI. So we'll go to settings, MIDI, MIDI keyboard mode. Oh, I think it's on 1, huh? You could connect Bluetooth in theory. Let's see. Should work off of all. It does act as a MIDI controller, but I'm not sure in Koala, Oh, you know what? I don't have the MIDI plugged in. My bad. That won't work. So if you don't have the MIDI plugged in, what I have in my MPC, or what everybody has in this MPC, if you have this one, is the ability to connect Bluetooth. I'm going to connect using this other Bluetooth. I'm not going to use the MPC's Bluetooth, but you can just use that. So here. So you see I'm using the MPC's Bluetooth, or not MPC's Bluetooth, a Bluetooth dongle into the MPC, but you can also use the one internally. I was just being lazy and didn't want to set it up, I'll be honest. But I will say, if you choose to do this route, I'm going to grab a sample real quick. Let's just put it, I think I have that sample on this one here. Let's go import. I have some keyscape stuff here. It's already, see, there you go. Now you got to do, let's go over here. I'm just using this as an example. So there you go. So you could do one shots build the whole song. All right, enough said. So if you're not using the sounds in here, what I'm saying is you can use the sounds either AUM into Koala or just Koala one shots, whichever one you want to do. So those are just some options that you have. Of course, if you want to just sample into the MPC, you could do that. I'm not focused on so much as what you can do into the MPC, because you can almost do anything you want for the most part. It's not complicated. But I do think having Koala somewhere nearby, or being able to pick off a sample and chop it pretty quick in Koala is kind of a nice feature to have on deck, because a lot of times you're not going to be walking around with the MPC in your hands waiting on a sample and having to plug in and do all that. It's a lot of work. So this is a great option to be able to make yourself some quick either one-shot instruments, some samples, or whatever that you can go back to and use in songs. You can also choose to use it for a sequencer, because some people don't enjoy the sequence in here. I mean, I'm not one right now because I really enjoy it, but I'm just saying, if you don't enjoy it but you like something simple like Koala, then you have the option to use Koala to sequence your stuff. You could build programs in here with chops that you've made, and then use those chops in songs and record directly in. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. You could record, let me take the import back to mic. Record directly into here your chops and build yourself some little patterns that you can then in turn use in your track. One of the beauties of this is just turn the metronome on, right? Press play. Well, don't be on that track. Just put it on a blank track. And now you have the basic rhythm. If you're the kind of person where you don't play too good to the metronome, you prefer to have beats, you could do just this, right? Set up this. It's not going to record the drums, right? It's just recording whatever is coming in through the mic. And then, well, I guess I got to put this on a. Whatever you record in is going to redo it, right? So you can sit here and obviously you wouldn't be using this piano, but if you had, built-in chops, you could just chop here and play the chops in. Now you can do this with the SP also. That's a good workflow, because obviously the SP and the Koala have a little connection that they've made, which is nice. The MPC does not have that connection, so you won't have that as an option. Koala does have export to Ableton, so you could use Ableton if you don't have, and you were just trying to use Ableton instruments. But we're talking about the MPC primarily. So MPC is an incredible tool, and I think in all actuality is it's the first piece of, this one here, particularly this one, is the first hardware that I've picked that I actually really like a lot. So I can recommend it to anyone that's looking to get into the sampler MPC type world, that wants a workstation, that wants to be able to chop samples, that wants to be able to have a DAW. And then of course the iPad is the easy way in. The iPad and the iPhone are easy with Koala to use, so you got a lot of options when making music, and they work together pretty good, so I have no issues with that at all. And being able to use this as a MIDI controller, the options are endless. Okay, that's it for this video. This isn't something new to most people that's been using any of this stuff, but for those that are kind of new, it's just some ways that you can look at benefits. The more you see the benefit in the tools that you have, the better you are going to be at making your music and finding ways to continue to press on with your creativity, right? That's kind of what the purpose of this is just to find what moves you creatively to make music. For some people, it may be none of this. They may not be interested in sampling. They just want to learn an instrument, that works too. The MPC could act as your instrument. They make a 61 key version of the same type of instrument, and you could be on that and learning to play just your keys and recording whatever you come up with. So the options are endless. Just use what you got. And I will say that everybody gets what they call gas, right? Gear acquisition syndrome, where you want more gear. But the reality is sometimes not having the gear can produce just as good of music as when you have it. So don't get caught up in that. Just find whatever you can afford and works for you, and make that your aim to just make music, right? Because that's what we're doing anyway. All right, I'm out. That's the end of this video. Till the next time.